everybody. My name is Steven. I'm a current final year student at the University of Sheffield doing my master's in mechanical engineering. And pretty much I started this blog to kind of take you on a journey of what I'm doing for my final year project. So it's something I want to do alongside my final year project and just take a vlog on what I've done from the start up until what I finished doing. It's a bit weird, but I'm trying to get used to it, and I'm trying to do it every day. So yes, like I said, I'm studying mechanical engineering at the University of Sheffield, currently in my final year, my 5th year. And for my project this year, if just figuring out where I kept it, I am actually designing the electronic version of a talking drum. I know many people might feel like, what's the point in doing this, or what's a talking drum in a sense. But I'll explain what a talking drum is, and I'll then explain what the point, why I felt it was important to take on this challenge, because it's a challenge I set to myself of actually seeing if I can actually do this. So what a talking drum is? A talking drum is a native cultural instrument from originally from West Africa. But you have different versions. So I won't say originally, but you have different versions around in Africa, in like the Senegal. I said the Senegal. In Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, different parts of Nigeria have different styles of the talking drum. But the way I know of the talking drum is I'm a Yoruba guy. So we're an ethnic group in Nigeria, and what the talking drum represents in our culture is so significant. It's something that I have always held on to, like, yo, that's actually an amazing thing. So I'll briefly describe it. So what you have is two drum heads. These are actually animal skin drum heads, mainly from goats, sometimes deers, sometimes cows on there. And then they are attached by this line of cords called or you call them strings. And then in the middle here, you have more or less the diaphragm, which is the main, the body of the drum. I have one here that's actually been taken apart. I'll explain why I have this. But this is the body of the drum, normally carved out of wood by hand. And what this drum does is typical physics of sounds. So you normally wear it this way, and then you rest your arm on the strings. And what this allows you to do is to you can actually press down on the string and release it. And that's how you control the sound. So you have, let me play it properly. So you have a wooden beater, normally a curved stick, has a bit of grip on the end, and allows you to actually play the drum. So if I do flat tones, but the more I press on it, you have a variation in pitch based on me pressing it, me pressing on the chords, or me applying pressure to the chords. So what this actually allows you to do is to replicate a variety of pitch. And why this is so significant in the Yoruba culture is because Yoruba is classed as a tonal language. So each word or each syllable is associated with a tone. And you have three main tones in Yoruba. You have do, you have re, and then you have mi. So the way you replicate those on talking drum, the do tone, open, re, you slightly press it in, and then for the mi tone, which is the high tone, press it all the way down. Those are the three tones in the Yoruba language. So this drum actually replicates that. I'll probably put a video of someone playing the drum. And it's mostly used for poetry, used for communication, is used in festivals, used for music. A different version of the drums have been in like Erykah Badu's songs. You can a talking drum, not the Nigerian one, but a different version of a talking drum was used in the Black Panther score. So it's becoming a more and more popular instrument. And if you're Nigerian out there, you know how much this drum, like, it changes the game. It's a lot more complex. It demands a lot more than let's say a traditional snare drum, where you're just the amount of expression you need in a talking drum is a lot more. So that's why this project is very important in a say. It's a challenge to see how can we replicate something electronically that requires a lot more control. Like, the pitch is so important. It's meant to be proper accurate, getting the nuances, getting the light finger tapping. So when you play, you can actually fingers play ghost notes. So how do we know that? How can we replicate that? So I looked at a normal electronic drum. A normal electronic drum, you can just have the snare, the snare, the toms, the ride, the crash, the hi-hats, the bass drum as well. But what you've seen in modern electronic drums, they're trying to make it replicate acoustic drums a lot more. So like the ride, you can have two zones that play different things that represent the two zones in the cymbals, in a cymbal, sorry. So when you hit it and it acts as a crash, and when you hit the bell and it acts like a more or less gives the bell sound, should I say. So electronic drums are becoming more complex in that sense, in trying to be able to allow accurate expression for the musician. But the problem with that, you have drums that are really expensive, like they're very expensive to replicate those. And take a snare drum, for example. In a snare drum, we just hit the drum, you just hit the snare. You might have different zones and stuff, but you don't really need to control the pitch of the snare drum as much as you would an electronic drum. How can I represent this electronically? In doing that, can I get a better understanding on the musician to the music interface in terms of replicating something that's a lot more complex than a traditional snare drum? Can I replicate that, the finger touches, the change in pitch accurately? So much control system, so much thinking to go about doing it. So it's a very complex instrument when you put it into context. One problem you have with these drums is they are made from leather skin, like animal hide. So in colder climates, you do find, from my research I've seen of a paper that of an instrument called the kompang, if I remember properly, there's a change in sound because of humidity and temperature, which affects the drum skin. Similar problem as seen with traditionally made timpanis, where they're made from animal skin as well. You just find that they don't replicate the same tones as well. So that the longevity of a talking drum can really be affected by the weather conditions. So they're normally made in Nigeria, so hot climate allows the lever to expand and contract. But when you're in a colder climate like the UK where I'm at, it's a lot more difficult to maintain a good sounding one, except you really spend time taking care of it properly, or making sure it's secure. So what happens is, which is pretty much the story of what happened to the one that was here before, the drum head popped. So when you play and the lever is has not stretched out properly because of how cold it is, the drum head is more liable to pop. So you can end up replacing this, and it's quite work getting them from Nigeria, and then some people make them here, but the cost of labor is still high. So actually being able to develop an electronic version and hopefully being able to replicate the the acoustic behavior electronically, can help bridge that gap and actually allow you to actually just practice an electronic talking without worrying about your your drums popping or anything like that. So that's another reason why I wanted to do it. And yeah, just a challenge. Like, I don't know, like it's just a genuine challenge. So I'm hoping to take you guys on a journey on designing this drum, my concept, my ideas, my ways of replicating it. I'm a lover of music and technology, and these drums just meet me right in the sweet spot of music and technology combined. And hopefully this would go far, and even if it's just giving us a better understanding of new sensors, replicating stuff, different things. So wherever it is, I'm looking to discover. So I'm really passionate about this. I'm looking to discover new stuff and new ways to accurately represent properties of acoustic instruments on electronic instruments.